And since I do lead code videos, and just the July challenge has been opened in lead code, and I thought of making a 30-day video playlist consisting all the challenges that would be there in the July challenge session. And also lead code is providing accessories and goodies for people who complete the July challenges. And so if you complete the whole July challenge, and if you complete each question on time, like every question has 24 hours to do, so if you complete it on time, then you can be eligible to win some cool goodies from lead code. So let's dive into the first question. I would be doing, since this is the 2nd of July, so I missed yesterday's question. So like I did it, but I did not record the video, so that's why I would be doing 2 questions today. One is the first 2 questions, right? The first one and the second one. And every consecutive day I would be uploading videos regarding the current day's question in the July challenge. So let's start on. So the first question's name is arranging coins. You have a total of n coins that you want to form in a staircase shape, where every kth row must have exactly k coins. Given n, find the total number of full staircases row that can be formed. So n equals to 5. If I have n equals to 5, then the total number of staircases that can be formed, keeping in mind that I have to place one coin in the staircase where its position is. So basically every kth row must have exactly k coins. So first row will have exactly 1 coin, the second row would have exactly 2 coins, third row would have exactly 3 coins. So how many coins have we used till now? We have used 3 plus 2 plus 1, right? Now let's say I have been given 8 coins, so I have used 6 coins up till now, right? So I've left with 2 more coins, correct? Because I have used 6 coins and I had a total of 8 coins, so I need to use every one of them. So I have 2 more coins that are left. So in the 4th row, the complete row should have actually consisted of 4 stars or 4 coins, but since I have 2 coins left, I am in a dearth of coin, I'll have just 2 coins in the 4th row. So this is the arrangement that I can make. Now the question is, in such an arrangement, how many number of complete rows can you form? So this is a complete row because the first row should ideally contain 1, and it does. The second row should ideally contain 2 coins, and it does. So first and second both are complete rows. The third row ideally it should contain 3 coins, and it does. And so the third row is also complete row. And the 4th row ideally it should contain 4 coins, but it does not have 4 coins, it has 2 coins. So the 4th row is incomplete. So the complete number of rows is 3, namely 1, 2 and 3, the first, second and third, correct? So how do we do that? So that's pretty much very straightforward question. Given an n, I have to find how many complete rows I can make. Now if you follow one pattern, the pattern is somewhat of this, okay? So in the first row I'll have 1 coin, okay? So basically what I'll have is, in the first row I'll have 1 coin, in the second row I'll have 2 coins, in the third row I'll have 3 coins, in the 4th row I'll have 4 coins. Let's say I have n coins, right? I have in total n coins, and in every row I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 and so on. So if I sum all of these coins, then that should be equal to n, right? So if I have exactly n coins. Now this thing would be true only when I complete every row. So basically what I mean by is, let's say I have 10 coins. If I have 10 coins, I would be able to complete 4 complete rows, because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10, right? Now the question is, what happens if I have 11 coins? So if I have 11 coins, I have already completed my 4 rows. I'll go ahead and check whether I have any coin left or not. Yes, I have a coin left, that's 1. And I'll check whether I can form a row or not. So I'll check whether I can have a row with 5 coins or not, but I cannot have, right? So basically what I say, if the number of complete rows is k, then the sum over all these k's should be less than or equal to n. Makes sense? So k into k plus 1 by 2, because the sum of first k numbers, natural numbers, because this is nothing but the sum of first k natural numbers. The first coin is 1, then the second row it has 2, then the third row it has 3, then it would go on to 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. So sum of all these coins should be less than or equal to n. N is the total number of coin, and the value which satisfies the maximum value, which integer, the maximum integer value which satisfied the this equation of k would be my answer. So nothing, it's just like you do one thing, you multiply, so that happens to be k square plus k equals to 2n, right? So what I'll go ahead, I'll form a square, so k square half into 2 into k plus 1 by 4th, right? So what I'm doing is classic method of forming a square and solving the question. So this would be less than equals to, so this particular thing, k square plus half into 2 into k plus 1/4, this is nothing but k plus half whole square. So this is nothing but k plus half whole square, and this minus 1 by 4th is the stale minus 1 by 4th. I'll take that on the right side, so that basically becomes 2n plus 1 by 4. So let's do one thing, k plus half, so let's do k plus 0.5, right? So I'm just converting it to decimals, equals to, if you see now, I have square root of, so I'll have square root of 2n, right, plus 1 by 4. So what's the value of 1 by 4? The value of 1 by 4 is 0.25, right? The square root of this. Now what will be the value of k? K would be nothing but the square root of 2n plus 0.25 minus 0.5, and that would be my answer. But one thing that I need to find, since this involves all square rooting terms, it's highly probable that the answer is a float or a double, but I need to return an integer. I'll typecast it to an integer. So basically what does the value signifies? If it's 3.4, that means I can have 3.4 number of rows. So how many complete rows do I have? 3, right? So this is the significance of giving an int. So this is pretty much easy. So one line, so I'll return int of sqrt square root of 2 into n. Now one thing that you need to keep in mind, 2 into n can exceed the maximum integer range, right? So to help that, to combat that, I'll be using log of n, because maximum integer is 2 to the power 32, log is more, correct? So that's what I would be using. So log of n plus 0.25, the square root of this minus 0.5 and whole of its int. That should ideally do. Let's run the code. Yeah, it works for this. Let's submit, and it's accepted. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says that given a binary tree, return the bottom up level order traversal of its nodes value, that is from left to right, level by level, from leaf to root. So it's nothing but given a binary tree. So this is a binary tree that's been given 3, 9, 20, 15, 7. What I need to print is, I need to return a vector of vectors which contain 15, 7, 9, 2 and 3. This is as simple as that, nothing more, nothing less. What I need to do is, if you find these types of question, this is pretty much easy. You need to traverse the binary tree. That's pretty much implicated. You have to traverse it, but you have to traverse in a level order. So for every node n, you need to know in which level does the node belong. So this 9 and 20 will be grouped together by the node level of 2, because this is the node level of 1, this is the node level of 2. So basically 9 and 20, they are grouped together by a particular key. The key value is the level value, which is the 2 or 3 or 1 in such cases. So it's pretty much intuitive to use a map. What I'll use a map which have an integer, and every map key, whatever it's 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever it is, they will have a vector, because 9 and 20, these two would be stored in a data structure as a vector, and this vector would be the value at the key 1, because the level is 1. So that indicates this whole data structure that we designed, that stores the level orders, the levels, the level 1, level 2, level 3, and for each level the corresponding vector. The vector includes all the nodes that are in that particular level. So I'll have a map of int and vector. So I'll have a map of int and vector. Let's go ahead and name it M, and I'll have a vector of vector int, right? I'll have this as answer. So map will contain all the vectors, right? So I'll at last fill up the this answer vector using the maps, using the map, right? So first let me populate the map. So what I'll do a DFS or maybe BFS. It hardly matters what you name the function, or it hardly matters even if you do a DFS or BFS, because in either cases you have a key that you need to you have a key that you can map. So I'll have a root and I'll have a level. That's it. So level would be 1. At first my level would be 1. Let's have a BFS here, and it would be void type, because the only thing that we would be doing in this function is to populate the map. So I'll have a tree node of star type root, and I'll have int of level. Now if first case, if root is equals to null, I'll go ahead and return. Now what will happen, now if I don't have null, so I have somewhat of the current node, so I would want to see what is the level of that current node, and I would use that level as the key and would insert the current node into that particular key's vector. So what I'll do is nothing but v of level, because level tells me which which level it has. So v of level dot pushback, because v of level is nothing but it's a vector. So I'll push vectors, I push all these values in the vector. So I have root of level, not level, the value, right? So it's nothing but root of val. Yeah. Now the important part in the question is I have to store from left to right. So I have done this level by level thing, but I cannot yet know how to do this left to right. So one thing is pretty clear, if it's told me that I have to store the vector in such a format that it starts from the leftmost node, so I should traverse the leftmost node first and store it in the vector, then I should push back the rightmost node, then store it in the vector only, because the vector storing is sequential. If you first store the left node, then left node always comes before the right node, correct? So the first thing that we need to have to do is I'll go and explore my left, I'll go and explore my right. If any one of you write the opposite, if you first go to the right then you go to the left, then that would yield you a wrong answer, because it's clearly written that the vector should be arranged in such a manner that it starts from the leftmost node in a particular level. So after this, so my map is populated. So what I'll do is I'll just have to insert all these vectors that are there in the map into this answer array. Now a map is implemented as a balanced binary tree. It's implemented as a red black tree, and these maps or sets, these kind of data structures, they use internal sorting, right? So they sort the numbers or the data structures, or the keys rather, in case of a map, as according to their values. So the first key would generally be 1, because they are in ascending order, so that would be 3, but we want this 3 to be at the last in the output, and we want the last value, that is 15, 7, to be in the first, in the output. So I'll do nothing, I'll just traverse the map in a reverse fashion, that's it. So I'll have let's say for auto I is nothing but m dot r begin. So r begin points to a pointer at the last, and I not equals to m dot reverse end, so that's m dot r end. I plus plus, don't get confused that I plus plus means it would go out of scope because it points the last. This m of r end and m of r begin works like this. M of r begin is intuitive pointer to the last, right? So what I'll do is I'll have answer dot pushback, right? So I have an iterator I, and I want the second value in the pushback. Second value is nothing but the vector, right? First value is the key, second value is the vector. So I'll just answer dot pushback and I would return answer. I think that would do. It was quite simple, not very complex. Let's see. So there's a compile error. What is the compile error? Because the BFS, okay, yeah, so I have to also give the level, the next level that I'm gonna evaluate. So what is the next level I'm gonna evaluate? If I'm going from a node to the left node, the next level that I'm gonna evaluate, I need to increase my level once, because every time we go to one of the parents, one of the child of a particular parent, we increase the level because the level increases. So I'll just pass on level plus 1, I'll just pass on level plus 1, and that should do now. Yeah, let's go ahead and submit. Yeah, it's submitted. So let's see if how well we did, because many a time people have speculations about maps and all, because using map will delay the running speed and all this stuff. So yeah, we are not pretty bad. We did around 8 ms, and that should be good, kind of good. Now we can always increase the speed. So the speed is very dependent on many things. Now if you use a Pragma, or if you optimize the GCC compiler, then you can always increase the speed. Yep, anyway, so not bad. And yeah, that's all. And please go ahead and try your hands on with the July challenge, because I believe that these challenges would really introduce you to new types of problems, new kinds of problems that you haven't seen, or maybe a new concept. And as usual, if you like the video, then please comment and share and subscribe, and thanks.